Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. This show is all about life transformations and our journey from where we were to why we are doing what we are doing today. We will discuss the hiccups, the roller coasters, and the blood, sweat, and tears that has been poured out while discovering our purpose. It is all about our transformations. Here is your host, Sean Douglas.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to another episode of Life Transformation Radio. Here I am your host, resilience implementer, TEDx speaker, business positioning strategist, and international best-selling author, Sean Douglas. This show is currently heard in over 90 countries. So whether it's your first time joining us or you're listening to us for some time, I want to thank you to those who are listening from around the world. Life Transformation Radio is all about our transformation. Here we tell the stories of why you're doing what you're doing. You're highlighting transformational moment that changed our lives and how you help transform others and elevate their lives as well. You can listen to us live right here on the Blog Talk Radio Network, Tuesday through Friday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can join our Facebook group, Life Transformation Radio Community, and never miss an episode by subscribing where you listen to podcasts. Life Transformation Radio can be heard on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Player FM, Radio Public, Overcast, Castbox, Himalaya app, the Google Play Music app, Pandora, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Life Transformation Radio. So subscribe wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. On the show, my guests are entrepreneurs, speakers, business owners, coaches, podcasters, authors, amazing human beings that are impacting the world around them. And my guest today, if you have any questions for any of the guests that have been on the show during our live broadcast, go ahead and give a call at 657-383-1109. Again, the number is 657-383-1109. And with that, please help me welcome to the show my guest for today, Bryan Clayton. Bryan, welcome to Life Transformation Radio.
Hey, it's awesome to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Man, I am pumped to have you on the show and to talk to you because, you know, we connected a while back, and I love your story. I love where you're coming from, and I love what you're creating, man. So this is going to be a really, really pretty cool episode to kind of talk about the Uber of lawn care, if you will, and really the transformation that you yourself are going through while building from 0 to 100.
Right on. I'm happy to share my experiences going from 0 to 100 employees, my first business, and now 0 to 20. So I'm happy to share the secrets of how I did it.
Heck yeah, man. So the title of this episode is The Uber for Lawn Care with CEO and serial entrepreneur Bryan Clayton. He is a serial entrepreneur building Peachtree Inc., a regional landscape construction company based out of Nashville, Tennessee, from 0 to 150 employees and navigating its exit to LUSA Holdings in 2013. Currently, Bryan is CEO and co-founder of GreenPal, an Uber for lawn care style app, which he founded in 2014 and has grown it to over 200,000 active users. You can go to yourgreenpal.com, P-A-L, yourgreenpal.com, and check that out. Look it up. Get on that platform for all of your lawn care needs. Bryan, the first question that I have to ask, and I believe is the most important question you could ever ask yourself, is why? Why do you do what you do?
Why? That's a great question. You know, I first got into the entrepreneurial journey when I was 15 years old. My dad came up to my room one day, was playing Nintendo, and he said, "Hey, guess what? We got a job to do. We are going to go mow the neighbor's yard." And I didn't want to take on that job, but my dad wasn't making a request. He was forcing me to do it. And so he and I went over to the neighbor's yard and mowed it together and got $20 and we split it. And ever since then, I've just been wired to love business. Something about being able to chart my own course, work as much as I wanted to, make as much money as I wanted to, depending on how hard I wanted to work. It just resonated with me. And ever since I was 15 years old to now, I just love running my own company. Whether it be building a business from just myself and a push mower to over 150 employees and $10 million a year in revenue, to now running a tech startup, which is a very different kind of business. I just love business. Yep. It's the thing that causes me to level up.
Huh. Very interesting. Very. I know people like myself. I love the creation. I love the growth, but I'm not a good maintenance guy. I grew up from I did next. Like, I'm just gonna drop it and go do something else. So I have to hire other people to go and keep going and build. You know, I don't know what it is, man. I just love the building, creation, I don't know if it's the hustle, grind, or whatever. The building something from nothing. I don't really know, but I know for a fact that deal to do this. And launch of once I get it self-standing, I'm like, all right. So for you, where do you kind of fall in? Are you a creation, launch, monetization guy? Fall in that?
Yeah. So for me, to your point, I'm more of a 0 to 1 kind of guy. I like taking something that's just an idea and turning it into something that works, something that people use, something that people get value out of. And for me, that's the reason why I do what I do. I love building something that solves somebody's problem, whether it be just a traditional type of landscaping business. We love making landscaping beautiful and solving the problems that our customers had. So now, fast forward and running an app-based company, solving the problems that homeowners have trying to find a good lawn mowing service, but also helping lawn mowing services grow their business. Something about just building something that helps others and doing well by helping other people just makes me feel good. And when I sold my first company, I retired and took about 6 months off, and I just got bored because I wasn't creating anything. I wasn't accomplishing anything. I wasn't really putting anything out into the world. And now with GreenPal, we're doing stuff that nobody else has done before. Nobody else has created a way that you can push a button and get your lawn mowed. And so that's just a lot of fun for me.
I'm curious. I mean, my grandparents had a lawn care service. I still does. Is it typically the older, the senior that has like lawn care? Like who's the ideal client for the lawn care company?
Yeah, good question. So when we first launched the app, we thought that our target user would be a more affluent, wealthier clientele, like a household income of $200,000 or $300,000. And when we first launched the app in the summer of 2014, we started handing out door hangers all over Nashville, Tennessee. That was the first market that we launched. And we went to those neighborhoods, those higher-end neighborhoods, and hung out about 100,000 of these things over 3 weeks. And the results were abysmal. We really didn't have much response from the people that we were targeting. And what we came to learn over several years of trial and error is that our user is actually more the working class individual, like a single mom or a school teacher or somebody like that who just doesn't have the time to mow their yard. And we make it so affordable to where it's a no-brainer to just get their grass cut using our technology, because we drive the cost down on how much it costs to get your grass cut by at least 20, 30% over what it traditionally would cost you to get it done, because we make it so much more efficient for the service provider to quote your yard, to invoice you, to get paid, to schedule you, that we drive the cost down to where it's more accessible to working class folks. And that's who our users are. 90% of our 200,000 users are household incomes of less than $60,000. And that's been eye-opening, but it's actually good because we want to sell to the masses.
Yeah. And I want to healthy neighborhood. Let's these guys grass. Number one, they got money. Number two, they're probably really, really busy doing what it is that they're doing to make that money. They probably don't have time to cut their yard. But I'm just that's crazy. I thought the working or the middle class, whatever, would cut their own yard, either save money or they're just doing it anyway. So that's
yeah, if you look at it this way, by the time you buy your own lawnmower, sharpen your own lawnmower blades, go to the gas station, get gas in a gas can for it, put gas in it, and mow it yourself. It takes you 2 hours or 3 hours to do it. You're making about $7 an hour. Whereas you can use GreenPal and get somebody to come mow it today or tomorrow for $20 or $25 and just set it to be done every 2 weeks for the rest of the year, and you don't have to worry about it. And so we make it more efficient for both sides of the transaction, and we make it so much more convenient and really more cost effective than what a homeowner can do it for themselves, or a home renter for that matter.
That's cool. We got to partner with I just love like the application. About like partnering with property management companies, flippers, real estate agents, things like that.
Yeah, so that's actually been a way that we've unlocked a lot of the demand side of the transaction. Mm-hmm. Property managers and real estate agents do actually use our platform for dozens, in some cases hundreds of properties. We've built out an entire kind of SaaS platform for them to log in and be able to manage the lawn maintenance and outdoor maintenance for a whole portfolio of locations that they're maintaining. One company called Knock, which is a company that buys real estate, fixes it up, and sells it at scale using technology, uses our platform in Atlanta and has several hundred properties on it.
That's so cool. Holy cow. That's so cool. I was just thinking, man, what are the applications of this thing? And I'm just like, well, who would need something like that? So that's absolutely incredible. The focus of the show is about our transformation or the business's transformation. So I'm curious, you had built a company, exited, built another. So I'm curious, what is your transformational moment that happened to you which changed your life and put you on the path of what you're doing today?
Wow, great question. So just looking at that from a broad perspective, my businesses are the vehicle for my own personal development. So everything from learning how to become a leader, learning how to delegate, learning how to build systems, learning things like basic accounting, learning financial management, all of these skills have been beaten into my head because my business required them of me. I had to learn them. I had to become better and better and better every year for the last 20 years running these companies. So from a broad perspective, my companies are the vehicle for me to grow and become stronger and smarter. Without them, I would be a fraction of the man I am. And I still have so much further to go because of it. But like pivotal moments that you look back in the last 20 years, there's so many. One would be the 2008 financial crisis hit the construction industry really hard. And our business was tied a lot to new construction. We did a lot of new installation work of landscaping, trees, shrubs, things like that for major commercial developers. And overnight, all of our major clients were going bankrupt, whether it be property developers, other construction companies, property investors. Everybody was just going belly up. And back then, about that crisis, which is different than what we're dealing with today, there was no bailout. Yeah, there was a bailout for some of the major financial institutions, but anybody operating on the ground level just had to grit their teeth and either go belly up or take the business down to the studs. And that's what we had to do. I had to really reinvent my entire company from the inside out and still try to hold on to 120 employees at the time. And it was a moment where I brought everybody together and said, listen, we're going to get through this, It's our goal to not lay anybody off. It's our goal to not miss a week of payroll ever. But we're all going to have to make sacrifices together. And here's how we're going to do it. And I laid out a 5-10-point plan that we all were going to make cutbacks together. We were all going to suffer a little bit for the benefit of the whole, of the entire team, of the entire family. And that bonding experience, going through that and seeing how it galvanized my team and made us really a family, was one of the most challenging things, but also one of the funnest things I've ever done. And I look back and I'm glad I had to go through it. At the time, it was a total nightmare because I thought I was going to lose my entire business. But as it turns out, we came out stronger and more profitable on the other end of it.
Yeah.
So that's what I would tell business owners today, going through the same thing. Don't give up. Get through it. This is a chance to be the last man or last woman standing in your industry. So you'll be glad. Believe it or not, you'll be glad 5 or 10 years from now you're going through it.
I love it. I think it has to do with a lot of resilience. I think it has a lot to do with foundation business too. A lot of times, something that happens, or now with the coronavirus, and everybody's like, "You gotta pivot, man. You gotta pivot. Like you gotta pivot. Do something different, but you gotta pivot." You know? And I'm like, I've built 4 businesses. I did business in 2008. In 2008, I mean, it was tough. It was
tough. It was very tough.
And when I took away from the past 2004 I've built is you need systems and foundations, and now wait to corona-proof your business. Or when a recession hit, and all of a sudden you call Facebook for all of a sudden you see courses, recession-proof your life, you know? Like that should have already been thought out a while ago. And I think what 2008 and 20 has highlighted, still have you need to recession-proof and corona-proof and everything else, your business, like a
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's funny, we have to have these moments to remind everybody. I do some coaching for some other small business owners in Nashville where I live just for fun. I do it for free. And for the last 3 years, I've been telling business owners that same exact thing. I know a lot of people in real estate, for example, that have just cleaned up over the last 8 years. And I've been telling them, hey, listen, we're going to have another downturn. Nobody knows what's going to cause it, but you need to be able to prepare to go 6 months with no revenue and still be able to service all of your debt. And some listened, some didn't. And unfortunately, we're starting to see some of those folks get washed out in this. Unfortunately, we have a pretty decent bailout for small business owners this go around, but it's not going to last forever. And the thing is, you're right. You have to prepare for these things because they happen. These black swan events happen every 10 years. You can almost count on them. And it's sad to see everybody lose 5, 10 years of hard work in 6 months. But unfortunately, that's what we're going to start seeing happen.
Oh, man, it's true. Like 2001, we had 9/11, and then like 7, 8 years later was 08, 09, and it was about 10 years, 12 years later. It's between 7 and 12 years. So.
Exactly. You can almost set your watch by it. Every 8 to 12 years, we're going to have some sort of black swan event that you're going to need to have to be able to survive to run your business for 20, 30 years. Because, I mean, a good small business should last you that long. And it should be something that you can sell or hand off to your kids. And if you can't survive those downturns, not only are you not going to be there to make it, but you can also then take advantage of the opportunities that happen after it. And we're going to start seeing that happen in droves when we finally get back rolling after COVID. You know, the ones that survive, that were adaptable and stubborn, they're going to really clean up and have even stronger businesses because of this.
100%. Yep. Absolutely. I agree. And in addition, there's going to, so many businesses have closed. So many businesses. And mean, the was going to sale, and they're going out of business sales. And I saw where Chuck E. Cheese is closing like a whole bunch of stores, and places. So Chuck E. Cheese is even dying down. I mean, it relies on people playing their games, like Dave Austin.
Right.
But if we can't do that, then now what do? They can't go virtual. They can't go online. Some speakers have now gone online and done virtual summits and some money there. But what's Chuck E. Cheese going to do? Chuck E. Cheese was still offering food. David Buster's still offering food. If nobody go for their food and only play games, they're done, right?
Yeah. What a sad story that is.
Oh. Even all sport places that rely on warm weather, and I mean, just not getting revenue.
Right.
There, right?
Right.
They're really shut. Actually, been physically shut down. So moving forward, we're seeing a lot of days. I feel like you should be innovating anyways. I heard it said that every 3, and I know for sure this is the restaurant business, you need to innovate every 3 years and rebrand every 5 to 7.
Right. Yeah. I mean, to take a page out of the playbook of one of the great Steve Jobs, when they invented the iPhone, there was pushback internally because they knew it was going to cannibalize the iPod, which was the greatest consumer product ever launched at the time. But he poignantly said, if we don't eat our own lunch, somebody else will. We have to cannibalize our own business and eat it from the inside out to build the next big thing. And wow, how true is that? And I don't know, you talk about Chuck E. Cheese, no telling it's a 50, 100-year-old company, and now they're going to be probably extinct. I mean, yeah, how could they have seen this coming? But the other thing that really about this whole crisis that is eye-opening, that I think the average person is starting to understand, they see how hard business is. Because if a business, if a restaurant or a chain like Chuck E. Cheese can't go 30 days, 3 months without revenue, it's lights out. And you see what a thin margin all these businesses operate by, even large, small. It's literally they are bringing in $10 million to try to hold on to just $2 million, if that. And so if you just cut the water off, it doesn't take long for the whole thing to just crumble. And people have been coming up to me, they're like, man, why didn't Cheesecake Factory have 6 months of cash in the bank? And I'm like, you just don't realize that's not how business runs. They operate on a very, very thin margin, and people are starting to see that. So in a way, there's some positive come out of it, where your person that is not exposed to any kind of entrepreneurial journey kind of understands how hard business owners have to work on a daily basis in good times just to keep it afloat.
Set and in good times, you should be stocking away money anyways and profit to not over. I mean, if you're telling me that you're coaching and they were hitting it 32 ahead, I'm like, man, you can put that down 6%. I'm like 6%, man. Like, I feel comfortable with that. If half your money goes to overhead, I don't feel like if you're profiting the other 50%, I feel like that's enough. I'm thinking 32, 36%, like I'm comfortable with that. But if people aren't innovating, if they're not thinking long term and stocking away, I mean, this is what happens. I mean,
exactly.
I mean,
you really have to think about, how am I going to kill my own business? And that can apply to
okay.
You know what I'm saying? You literally have to be thinking, how can I reinvent my business and kill it, but still I'm the one eating it. And it could just be if you own a restaurant, and a restaurant becomes old and stale after about 5 years. And so how do you reinvent that thing again and again and again? And you have to be thinking about that. You have to be so paranoid all the time to make it. You like Mark Cuban says, you have to be working like somebody else is going to take it all away from you because, yes, there's somebody else out there who's going to outwork you if you don't have that mindset.
100%. I think it's very meta that you mentioned the iPod. As I research starting podcasts, and we launch a lot of podcasts for people who want to be podcast hosts. And I love to know the backstory. I'm a VH1 behind the scenes. I mean, I love the VH1 behind the scenes, like the sound stage, right? And what the story was supposed to be was that Apple didn't recognize podcasts until 2004. They in some whole thing, like get rid of the Walkman and take over and download music. Then they saw do this podcast thing. This thing to take off. There's people really crushing it in the podcast space. So the iPod really see where you do podcasts. Music so that podcast in there because in 2014 really but it didn't take. Everybody used it for music like originally, I guess was thought, and everybody used it for music. Here we are 10 years later, 2014, and it's the craze. You ever have a podcast? I didn't have a podcast. That's kind of crazy. In 2017, when I started, everybody was like, yo, podcasts are getting massive. I'm like, I know, let's start podcasts. So everybody was like rushing to start podcasts. And then 2017 was the year of the podcast. If you don't have a podcast, you suck as an entrepreneur. Like I heard someone literally say that. If you're an author, you're an entrepreneur, don't have a podcast, you're missing out millions of dollars. You know how they always say stuff. And this year, I'm busier than ever because no one can go anywhere. We can't, as speakers, get live events. So what do? We on podcasts. And we went from 3 to 5 to 7 to over 1 million podcasts, 100,000, 500,000, 700,000, literally night. And then over 1 million podcasts. Now over 1 million podcasts available on Apple Podcasts. And
that's crazy. That's wild, isn't it?
Now 10 years later, right? So 2005, 10 years later, people are like, oh, what's this podcast thing? And Apple's like, hello, iPod.
Right.
And then 15 years later, now it's taking now it's taking hold. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think what you've hit on there is that a lot of times if you wait for the trend to become super hot, you're already too late. By the time everybody's doing it, they're 7 years ahead of you. And so, yeah, could you start a podcast today and turn it into something successful? Probably, maybe, if you wanted to work hard enough. But really, that window of opportunity was probably 10 years ago, maybe 5. And so it's like people every day, you know, when they talk about GreenPal and they're like, oh, yeah, you know, I thought of that. I thought about building something like that. And I'm like, yeah, we've been working on this for 7 years. You know, and it's one of those things, like there's no overnight successes in this stuff, whether it's a podcast, whether it's building a consumer app, whether it's just building a simple type of business like a construction company. There's no shortcuts. It's gonna take years to get the ball rolling, and like Warren Buffett says, get the snowball rolling down the hill. And a podcast is a great example of that, and especially as competitive as it is now. Starting a podcast today in 2020 is almost impossible to get it popular. Just from me talking to other podcasters, and I'm sure you can relate.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
It is extreme. If you look at moving in the podcast industry, Joe Rogan signed a humongous $1 deal, exclusive. Based on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, and what an awesome dude! What an awesome moment.
That's the thing. I think Joe Rogan and Spotify set the bar. So SoundCloud's going to buy a podcast and only have it out there. Stitcher's going to buy one. Anchor's going to buy one. I don't know if Apple only have Apple if they're smart, they will, or they'll come out with their own. How Apple come out with their own? They do. I'm not an Apple user. I don't know how to Apple at all. But I think it's the growth and what has taken place. There's going to be these key players and exclusive these platforms. You've lit open the door for that to happen. Where I rappers like have every single company. I'm pretty sure podcasts go to the same thing. These podcasts are signed deals and all produce their podcasts with that place. So the Spotify, it's Spreaker, Apple, whoever. I think that's what it's like.
I agree. I think the Joe Rogan deal just is a watershed moment for so many reasons. You're going, like you said, you're going to start seeing these big platforms making huge Howard Stern type deals with podcasters, and you're going to start seeing these big platforms like Netflix start. Like Netflix has created its own content and shows. You're going to see platforms like Spotify create their own. I think that was just a huge moment for the podcasting industry, not just for Joe Rogan, and he deserves every penny of it, but just for the whole industry in general, that this is the way it's going, and that now the big platforms are going to start investing in the content finally, and now the audience has started to understand that you can dial into whatever niche topic you want and get exactly that type of content on places like Spotify. And so I think it's a huge, huge thing for people in the podcasting game.
I say that the best time to plan a trip 20 years ago and today. And it literally,
I agree.
Just proved it. We just proved it. Literally just now proved it. You start a podcast, 2004 was probably the best time. And now, tomorrow,
yeah,
it's not going to be.
Exactly.
It's so to get found. It's so hard. Everybody, I got to get new and noteworthy. I got to get top 100, and I got to launch it. And I literally there's shows now. It's almost like what you do for a podcast. That's really
right. It's everything around the podcast. It's just as important as the podcast itself.
100%.
And it's like it's hard to get that distribution from scratch. And it really, for what I'm doing in a consumer mobile app, it's the same type of thing. It's really hard to get distribution for an app when nobody knows about you. It's really, really difficult. And so how do you deal with it? Well, just grit, adaptability, perseverance, consistency. You just don't give up, and you just do it because you love it.
100%. I'm sure it's very true about podcasts and business and everything. There's an app for that. So I'm sure super hundreds of thousands. I mean, that's insane. 200,000 people for a lawn care app. I mean, to me, that's incredible.
Well, I appreciate it. It's been a hard road. When we finished our first year in 2014, we ended the year with 22 customers, and 12 of them were my friends and family that I made use it. And so we've come a long way. And it's just been one of those things where we literally just kept going, kept taking the feedback from users and reapplying it to the app, kept trying to understand where we were delighting people and, more importantly, where we were pissing them off, and just kept improving it relentlessly. There's a motto by the Japanese have called Kaizen, and we just applied that simple Kaizen approach of just constant improvement, never-ending improvement, making it better and better and better. And here we are 7 years later. We are still trying to figure out how we can get you a lawn care service faster, cheaper, and more reliably than we are currently doing. We're the easiest way in the world to get it done, but we're looking for ways to shave time on how long does it take for you to get prices, How long does it take for that service provider to come mow your grass? How much does it cost? And how can we improve the reliability on them showing up on time week in and week out? We're still working on that one problem that we started on. We're just relentlessly improving it because we know if we do that better than anybody else in the world, that we'll have moats and longevity around our platform. And that's our simple strategy. And a lot of times successful business owners, large and small, they do one thing really simply. It's not rocket science. But it's not easy. It's just something that you have to do consistently year in and year out.
Yep. So how do you elevate the world around you in business, in your home? What did you do to elevate the world around you?
I'm sorry, you're cutting out. Can you repeat that?
All right. What do you do in your business and in your home life that elevates the world around you?
One second. Let me. I don't know if it's your connection or mine. Let me move around here. Can you hear me now? Are you there?
Yep.
Okay. Can you repeat that question one more time?
Yeah, man. This is a thing going on just a week. What do you do to elevate the world around you?
Sean, I apologize, man. I think our connection is wearing out because I can't hear your last question.
All right, man. Okay, let's try that.
Maybe we can wrap up another time and finish the second half.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just asking, elevate the world around you.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, buddy, I appreciate it. I'm signing off.
All right, man. Thanks so much, man. Everybody, Transformation Radio listeners, amazing guest impacting the world around him. If anything resonated with you today, please reach out to Bryan Clayton, reach out to myself. I sincerely apologize for any of the technical difficulties and technology going on with connections. This whole week has been just absolutely crazy with technology and people being online. But I appreciate your support. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you tuning in to Life Transformation. Hopefully, we can give it elevate the world around you. Rate and review. Let me know how well we're doing, and barring the technological downfalls that we have, please subscribe to Life Transformation. I'm your favorite platform. And with that, I close the show by saying live your find opportunities every day to live out the core values that you hold deep in your heart. And I call this living your brand. So until next episode, live a great life.